Okay, so you want to buy a house, but you need to save money for a down payment. So here's the math behind your monthly saving goals for buying a house. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use the average home price of $321,500. Other things that you need to be able to know about. Now, home prices vary from where you're at, if from different areas and stuff like that. But in most loans, most mortgage things, that you'll need to take 20% down of the home price. So first thing you have to do in order to calculate 20% of this amount is you convert that 20% to a decimal value by moving your decimal 2 places to the left, and we're going to multiply that decimal times the 321,500. When we do this in our calculator, we multiply this out, we end up that we need $64,300 as a down payment for this house. So that's our savings goal. So what this video is going to be like, it's going to be breaking this down is how much you need to save every month so that at the end of your set time period, however long that you have, let's say 5 years, to save this money up, how much should you deposit every month into a high yield savings account? Now, yes, there's other ways that you can save money besides the high yield savings account. You can invest in the stock market. You could invest in bonds. You could do all different things. But for the purpose of this video, let's just say that we want low risk. So we're choosing a high yield savings account. Right now, high yield savings accounts, APR, annual percentage rates, are between 4 and 5%. So I'm going to take the average of that and let's do it at 4.5% APR, annual percentage rate. And then most high yield savings account, they pay you interest once a month, so that's compounded monthly. That's what that means, is that our interest is paid onto our account once a month, so compounded monthly. And then for the purpose of this video, I'm going to give myself 5 years to save for this down payment of the house. I know in today's society, waiting 5 years to get to a down payment house might seem like overkill, but we want the house of our dreams. And we want to take the time to do this right. So we're going to start saving now for 5 years. All right, so let's start by looking at our formula, our mathematical formula for saving for the long term. Now, I know this formula looks scary when you first see it, but it does. I'll break it down to you piece by piece so you understand. So D is equal to A times R over N times divided by 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power minus 1. So that is our long-term savings formula. Now let's break down what each of these variables mean in this formula. So A stands for the amount that we want to save. So the amount that we need to save. And so in this incident, we're talking about saving for this house, our dream house. The amount we want to save is $64,300. So that's going to be our A in the formula. R stands for our annual interest rate. And in this case, our high yield savings account has a APR of 4.5%. So that's our annual interest rate. Our annual interest rate is 4.5%, but in order to plug R into our formula, we need to convert that percentage to a decimal. So again, move that decimal place over 2 times to get 0.045. N is our compounding period. So the number of compounding periods that we have in a year. And so since this is compounded monthly, our N is 12 because that's 12 months per year. T stands for the time in years that you're going to be saving toward this goal. And so we're going to save for 5 years. So our T is going to be equal to 5. D stands for your periodic deposits into the account. So this is how much you're going to be depositing every month for the next 5 years. And that's the number we're hoping to figure out through this formula, is we want to calculate our regular deposits. So D is going to be equal to 64,300 times, open our parentheses. In the numerator, we're going to put our interest rate of 0.045 divided by 12, our compounding periods. And then in the denominator, we're going to put 1 plus that same fraction of 0.045 divided by 12. And we're going to raise that to the 12 times 5 exponent and then minus 1. Now to figure this out, let's go to our calculator and just type it into a calculator. And I'm using a TI-83. You can use whatever calculator support. So first thing you got to do is we got to figure out how to do a fraction button in our calculator. So I have that 64,300 times, open parentheses. Now to do a fraction, we'll hit the alpha, y equals, and 1. And then I have a fraction on the top here, so I got to repeat this, alpha, y equals 1 again. And then we're going to plug in our amount of our r, which is 0.045, divided by 12. And then in the denominator, got parentheses 1 plus that fraction again. So let's go back to our fraction key of 0.0145 times by divided by 12. Close our parentheses. Go up to our exponent by doing the caret button of 12 times 5. And then move cursor down to the main screen and -1. And then you push enter, and that'll give us our monthly deposit. So if I can put in this count, so if I can put $957.62 or $958 every month into this account for the next 5 years, I will have over $64,000 saved up. So I will have 20% of my down payment saved up. Now that's very convenient and nice to do. Now what the cool thing about this video is this formula is that you can now play with it and change things based on whatever situation that you need. For example, let's say you have more than $960 every month to save toward this goal. Let's say you're doing a side hustle or something like that. So let's now change our time to 3 years. Let's see if we have enough money that we could put enough aside to save and reach our goal in a little bit faster time. And so we're going to change just the t from 5 to 3. So let's go to our calculator. Now this is really cool. You can just cursor up till you get the equation highlighted and then push enter and just change that one number, that 5, change to 3. And then this says if I save $1,671.60, or if I round that, $1,672 every month, I would have enough money to buy this house in only 3 years. So that's pretty cool. And so you can calculate. Now, what if you're someone that doesn't have $960 every month left over for this? Well, don't worry. Your goal, you can still reach your goal. You just might take a little bit longer. So you could then, instead of doing 5 years, maybe we could do 7 years. And see how long it would take, how much we need to save every month if we wanted to save for 7 years toward this goal. So we'll do the same thing, and we'll go back to our calculator, and we'll change this to the 3 to 7. When we change that 3 to 7, we see that we only need $652.66. So if we had 7 years to save, we'd only have to save $652.66 every month, which is a little bit more manageable for some people. Now, I'm not going into, you can also change your interest rate. For example, you could choose to, instead of invest in a high yield savings account, maybe you want to try the market, and which traditionally gives you about 9 to 10% average return. You know, it's all up to you if you want to do the interest, something safe like a high yield savings account versus a interest, something a little bit more risky as the market, especially if you're just saving for the, under 5 years, usually wouldn't bother with the market. Now, this can be done for many different things. It doesn't have to be as big as a house. If that 5 years goal of saving money is too intimidating for you, maybe you have a motorcycle that you want to buy. Now, motorcycle prices range quite a bit, but the average price of a new motorcycle is, say, $16,000, and that's a good quality motorcycle. Now, let's say we can get a high yield savings account. Let's do a little bit more. Let's say we get 4.75% on this high yield savings account this time. And so we're going to repeat this process. We want to see, okay, how much money do I need to save every month so that I could afford to buy this motorcycle a year from today? So our amount that we want to save is going to be $16,000. Our R is our interest rate turned to a decimal, so that's going to be 0.0475. Our N is how many times compounding, and then here is compounded monthly on a high yield savings account, most high yield savings account. And we want to do this for 1 year, so T is going to be equal to 1. So we'll go back to our formula, get our deposit, regular deposits to make in this account. And we're going to replace that with 16,000. And then the numerator is going to be 0.0475 over 12. Divide by 1 plus that 0.0475 over 12. Raised to the 12 times 1 power, because we're going to do them 1 year, minus the 1. And we're going to type that into our calculator. And let's see how much our monthly deposits would be for saving toward this motorcycle for only a year. So remember, your fraction key was that alpha y equals that 1. And then we're going to do that again, alpha y equals 1, to get the fraction in the numerator of 0.0475 divided by 12. And then cursor down to the bottom, we got our open parentheses, 1 plus our fraction of 0.0475 divided by 12. And then we're going to raise this whole grouping here to 12 times 1. Then we got to minus the 1 there. And then we calculate that, and we figure out that if we can save $1,304.56 every 55 cents every month, we can save $1,304.55 every month for a year. We could buy this motorcycle outright, and we wouldn't be in debt. We wouldn't have to have a loan or anything. Now, that's too intimidating. Let's see what we would have to save if we change our time to 2 years. Remember, I said I hadn't retyped this in. I can just cursor up to it and change my time here of 1 to 2, and then push enter. And that's $636.82. And it's a way for you to set goals about how to save for certain life goals that you have, whether it's buying a home, buying a motorcycle, a car, a vacation that you're going to save for. This formula can be used to anything in toward which you want to save money to reach a goal that you have. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please hit the like or subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this or any questions that you might have had.